do with comments about agenda item only. The next item to come before council will be item number 8, old business. We'll be on public hearings and adoption of ordinances, and we'll be on public hearing on ordinance number 3443. Will the city administrator please expound?
This is the budget for the coming year, which will begin July 1. It's been the subject of one previous reading and a couple of workshops during which time council has reviewed the various issues associated with the budget. I would characterize it as a significant improvement over our past 2 years, and it's something that we're able to do a little better in terms of being able to replace equipment. We have a small raise for employees recognizing the effort they've been giving to the city. And we would recommend approval on second reading following public hearing.
All right, are there any questions of the city administrator by council members? Hearing none, chair will entertain a motion. We're having a public hearing. At this time, the chair will be open for a public hearing on ordinance number 3443. It's an ordinance establishing spending appropriations for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2012, ending June 30th, 2013, and further approving the city administrator's proposed budget with such modifications as deemed necessary or desirable by Morristown, Tennessee Council for the fiscal year 2012-2013. So at this time, the floor is open for a public hearing on this item. If you wish to address it, please state your name and address your comments to Chair.
Again, the Reverend Nigel Mormon Reed Sr., 1440 Cherokee Drive, Morristown, Tennessee. The only problem I have with this budget, because several years Craig Price is trying to get a bathroom for my hood. That's your district. Okay? It makes no sense why the poor has to run to the woods like dogs and not have a bathroom. We want a bathroom next year, Mr. Administrator, Ms. Council, if you're still here, and other four. So I want to readdress that I was not talking to you, Mayor, or you, Gene, because you two get choked up. Y'all for the poor. Okay? We need a fence over here at Civic Park so that the basketballs don't go into the creek. Okay? We need a new community center. So next year's budget better address the poor, please. Peace.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other comments?
Carl Murphy, 1101 West Rose. Mayor Thomas, I have questions on the 2012-2013 budget. Has costs addressed or even considered while preparing the 2012-13 budget the proposals made in May of 2011 for a bill which is on public record? Proposals were eliminating council's $15,000 annual travel budget to create a travel expense policy for the council. Also wanted to return $10,000 allocated for culture, diversity, related events back to the budget, which no one opposed, and neither do I. He also pointed out that one council member has spent $22,000 on travel expenses in the last 4 years. My question is, again, in any way, is any of his proposals covered in this new budget? If the answer is no, somebody needs to tell me why. Is this the right direction to head in? Save money, while a travel expense policy would create the same rules for all to follow and obey, and controls on those rules. And I don't know who to ask the questions to anymore, because it seems like some wants to answer it and some doesn't. So I have these to hand out to two gentlemen here. And if you would, I'd like somebody to explain to me, if it's not in this budget, why it's not in there. Because I think it's a good thing.
You would hand the envelopes to the officer. your comments. Any other comments pertaining to the budget?
Anyone know 2343 Joe Stevens Road? My question would be regard to another statement that Mr. LaBelle made when he first came before or on this board. And he was concerned about what he called the $100,000 slush fund, which I think Mr. Cox labels a contingency. But I tend to believe that it is a slush fund, and it goes to now various things that certain council members want, some things that all of you want, some things that others of you want as your special projects. If those projects are worthy of being in the budget, put them in the budget with a name at the beginning instead of establishing just one big $100,000 slush fund and then pulling from it during the year. The other thing I would like to address is we still don't have meetings taped here. As I understand from the last meeting, it was about $10,000 to buy the equipment. And of course, the remark was made, well, go raise it yourself. It doesn't seem like anybody up here worries about raising it yourself when it's something you want, such as the butterfly park and other special little items. So why would you say to the people, raise it yourself, when all that's being asked is that you televise your meetings for the people who can't be here for various reasons, or people who have another commitment, they would still like to view the meeting at another time. County Commission has handled it very well for 10 years now. When's the city going to catch up? Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. Are there any other comments on the budget? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing portion on the city budget. This time, Chair will entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 3443 on the second and final reading.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember LaBelle, we have a second by Councilmember Jinks. Is there any discussion by council members?
I like to say, Mayor, that I'm going to vote no on this because we spent less than 30 minutes on this. I don't think it's fair.
Very good. Any other comments by council members? I too am voting no on this budget for that reason, several others.
Mayor, I'd like to say that we all had the same amount of time, which was several weeks, that we had the printed document. We had 2 different times that we met on it, and our staff is always available. And no questions were submitted to them that needed an input back to that individual.
Thanks for your comment, Ms. Senator. Whenever you have a workshop, I don't believe it's the place of council to ask permission of staff on what questions are to be brought up at a work session. I believe it's our responsibility as council members and the mayor to discuss these openly so that the public can hear any objections and they'll know what is recommended by council. Done any other way other than a workshop, to me, is almost like violating the sunshine law. So that's my feeling.
Mayor, I object to saying it's violation of the sunshine law when the council member calls the administrator in order to let them know what questions one might have so that they can be prepared to answer that question. And the initial workshop that we had the previous year, we always asked questions. We met at the library and a tremendous number of questions were asked at that particular time. And the option is always available for us to ask questions. We had a document for 2 weeks, and I'm just saying that there are many other topics that individual council members call the administrator about. I do not know why someone who had questions did not call the administrator or other staff with questions about the budget.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Senator. You did have 2 meetings. You had one that was a presentation of the budget. That is not the time to discuss it because you have not had time to read it. Only during the workshop you've had that opportunity. Are there any other comments about that?
Yes, I've got a comment about it. Tony did an excellent job on the budget.
We had plenty of time to review it, plenty of time to understand it, plenty of time to ask any questions. And anybody that had any questions about it had plenty of time to comment on it. But to read a budget, you've got to understand it, and that may be the problem. But there was no problem with the budget.
I don't think that's the
whatsoever.
problem.
Excuse me, I'm talking. Now, it's the problem.
I don't think that's a problem, Mr. Garrett, you're very rude. And at this point, we'll ask if there's any more council comments that aren't rude.
Can I make a comment, Mayor?
Yes.
I'll answer Kay there. You know, there was some time there, Kay, but I remember Tony telling us when he presented the budget, then he said, we'll get back whatever date that was on Friday, and we go over everything, any questions and stuff. I remember that specifically. But also, you know, we come in here, we sit here, and we was going over some things, and then all of a sudden, Mr. LaBelle jumped up and said, it's true, you know, it's less than 30 minutes. Now, it takes longer than 30 minutes to go over that, but then you all took a vote, you know, and Mr. Jesse, you said the vote is illegal in work session, is it not?
Voting has to be done in a regular or special
Well,
call.
they took a vote and dismissed, and we could sit there with no answers, you know? So I don't appreciate that.
Any other comments by council at this point?
Yeah, I've got one. I sat there at the meeting, I don't know what anybody else did, but I asked the mayor and I asked you if either one of y'all had any comments. I had come, I prepared my day to sit there all day if I needed to. And both you and the mayor chose not to bring anything up to me at that time. Neither one of you did.
Okay, can I
I
answer
sat
that,
there at
Chris?
that table, I've got the floor. I sat there at the table, you all got up and left the table before I did. I came to watch, see what your comments were. I can't help what Mr. LaBelle does or anybody else does. I came to listen to what your questions were. You chose to get up from the table before I did.
Are you through?
Yep.
Can I answer that, Mayor?
You may.
Okay, that's true to a point, okay? But LaBelle had already dismissed himself. They'd already took a vote, and Chris, did you not vote to be dismissed to go?
I did not vote to be
Did you not
dismissed.
stick up your hand?
He asked me if I had any problems with the budget. I think that's what Mr. LaBelle said. Do you have any problems with the budget? And I said, no, I don't.
But didn't you vote, didn't you raise your hand?
There was no formal vote
Yeah,
taken.
well, whatever, there was a vote taken.
There was no
And your
formal
hand on the
vote
tape
taken.
is raised, I have the
What we'll
tape.
do is have one person log in at a time.
There was
But
no
I sit
formal
there and
vote.
everybody just,
Well, why don't you, if you have a question for Chris, go ahead and ask him, and if you would like to answer, you can.
Who has
You
a
have
problem
no, you have
with
no
my budget?
questions?
you and I, Chris, talked about this later, and we was okay, because, you know, you said, I'll sit here all day, but what I'm saying, everybody else left, and.
You know, I think myself, Mr. James, Mr. Cox, these ladies right here were sitting here. I think that you and the mayor got up and left the table before I did.
So you're saying we left before y'all voted?
You
Is
left
that right?
before I did.
Well, I'll tell you, next meeting, I'll bring the tape,
Okay.
okay, we'll show it.
What we'll do is this, I think, this is another example of why we need to record these meetings. All right, with that, are there any other discussions by council? Hearing none. Please read the vote. 5 yeas, 2 nays.